Hey everybody, welcome back!
Hey. Hello!
We're back!
I barely recognize any of you.
Who are you? So long.
Who am I?
Why are you in my house?
Hello everybody, I am your Dungeon Master Nathan, and I am so excited once again to join with my lovely players and you all, the listener, here on Reckless Attack, which is, of course, a 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons actual play podcast. And how I would like to start this episode is to ask everyone what they did in the long stretch of time since we last recorded. What sort of large accomplishments have you done in all of this time we've had where we weren't recording?
As players or
Right, yeah,
our characters?
As humans, as human people that I look upon.
Steve has just been living as self.
Yeah.
Gone full method.
Uh-huh.
I ran a very fast mile
Hey, that's
Nice.
pretty good.
Oh, nice.
and then spent 3 hours drinking like 500-calorie coffee drinks.
Hell yeah.
It was great.
That is very nice. More on the fitness side, I got my home gym set up.
It's sweet.
Yeah.
It's pretty good,
which
actually.
I got it. Now I can do light squats and
Wow.
whenever I feel like. I don't even have to go anywhere for it.
Calm down your enthusiasm,
Yeah.
Jonathan. It's
Yeah,
coming
no,
on
it's
a bit strong.
I don't have all the weights yet, so I can't get like super heavy with it.
No lizard brain lifting
Yeah,
yet.
exactly. So it's all just like nice calm lifting for right now. But as soon as I get those 45s in, man, I am unstoppable.
It's lo-fi lifting.
Yeah.
Got it.
now.
That's true.
Yeah.
For right now. I made dumplings over the weekend, and that was great. Dumplings and bao.
I love dumplings.
Yeah, they were very good.
I would like to object because I made dumplings and you made
Wow.
bao.
That is fair. We were both there for the collective dumpling and bao making.
Mm-hmm.
David and Jonathan's mom was in town.
Yeah.
Which was a fun time.
Yeah.
But they went to play Magic because they had a standing Magic appointment. And so he and
Very
his mom
important.
played. No, I'm fucking everything up.
Yeah. Our mother
Went to
and-
go play Magic the Gathering.
Right,
with
yeah.
us.
Yes.
And she kicked our asses.
Yes.
I am attempting to cut down the amount of pop and caffeine that I drink.
Ooh.
Nice.
So as we're recording now, this is towards the beginning of it. So I'll be perfectly pleasant for this episode. However, going forward,
Yeah.
Just you wait.
Yeah.
We had Goofy Self. Soon we will have Grumpy Self.
Yeah.
Well, that all seems fine or whatever. I personally have written a trilogy of fantasy novels as well as scored 2 hypothetical movies to them with all of the large amount of time since our last arc ended. So I don't know what exactly you guys are doing, but step it up, I guess.
I played a lot of video games. It was a good time.
Anyway, everybody, please, who are you?
Hi, I'm David.
Nailed it. Perfect.
There we go. Perfect segue. And I
Perfect
play Cascarin Brightmane, the Dwarven Warlock. I don't know what else to say.
Hi, I'm Sophie.
Yeah.
I play Valeska Card.
Wow, we're really rusty, you guys. It's been years since we've recorded this.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jonathan, and I play Checkers, the Grung Druid, and his trusty frog pals, Mango, Billiam, and Junior. That's going to be the...
Does Billiam get to be in the intro if he's technically not there the whole
Wow.
time?
Wow.
Excuse me,
Wow.
Sophie. Billiam isn't in my heart all the time.
I know he's in all of our hearts
Yeah.
all the time.
Billiam will remember that.
But we're all just hanging out, having good times.
I'm waiting for more frogs to appear and then for Jonathan to just state like their condensed name and
Yeah.
he's made like some weird
Like Benifer? Or are you talking
no, just like every the first
like
letter
an
of all
acronym.
of their names, like an acronym, a backronym, and just like it's gonna be some fucking weird.
It's going to be something for sure weird.
I hadn't thought about
like
that, but now I have to.
Jubilangle.
Yeah.
It's all consonants right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
He's gonna start throwing vowels
yeah.
in there.
My name is Steve. Hello, everyone.
Hi.
I am playing a slightly different character for this story arc. This is Selv Asterlin, level 5,
Hey.
as opposed to level 4 for the previous arc.
Well, everybody, welcome back to a new arc of Reckless Attack. Very excited. Got a lot of twists, got a lot of turns here up ahead of you guys. But we're going to start in the middle of some action. At the end of our last arc, people were lined up outside of the Golden Tree Guild Hall with jobs, with congratulations, all kinds of stuff. But suddenly you guys were a well-known commodity in the city. And I'm going to get to what you guys did in these, we'll say week, maybe 2 weeks even, depending on kind of what activities you have. But that's not the cool place to start. The cool place to start is you are on a quest, the four of you. Already, you've accepted a job. I, the DM, am not going to tell you what you're on just yet, but it's a job, it's a very important job. You have been tasked first of going around to the city and finding lost objects in strange nooks and crannies. You're looking high, you're looking low, you're looking inside, outside, all over the place, all strange areas and all hidden coves and nooks and crannies. I would like the four of you to each describe your character and where they're reaching, where they're searching, where they have found what it is that they were looking for.
Val is standing next to Selv, so you'd see how truly short she is.
Mm-hmm.
She's about 5 feet tall with short, dark brown hair that's braided in 3 braids towards the back of her head, and they all meet at the nape of her neck and are clasped together with a clip. She's got her eye mask actually tilted up on top of her head as they're standing in a darkened hallway. Her leather armor is on. She's kind of ready for anything, not knowing where this scavenger hunt, for lack of a better term,
Yep.
is taking them. And her shield with the chalice in the half-open eye is on her back, and she's holding out a piece of parchment in front of her. And she and Selv are looking over it and looking at this wall and kind of moving the parchment to almost match
Mm-hmm.
the patterns,
Mhm.
because it's kind of like brickwork, but it's almost natural stone that has been like mishmashed together.
Awesome.
Like
Yes.
some old masoner was like just making stones work, like
Yep.
using what natural ones he found to make this wall. You see her eyes glow almost the same blue as her shirt,
Mm-hmm.
and something kind of clicks. You see like recognition flash across her face, and she goes up to the wall, mutters something, a prayer
Mm-hmm.
under her breath, and draws like along the seams of the rocks in a specific pattern, almost forming like a loose star shape. All of a sudden, something moves
Mhm.
and shifts, and it's at the point of the star. So she has no idea what it is because she's too short and can't see. So she looks back towards Selv like, what is it? What's happening up there?
And I assume a clawed hand reaches in to a dark hole.
And relatively delicately, and takes out whatever object happens to be there.
So, Checkers and Mango and Junior are in an old, dusty warehouse, probably in a forgotten part of the city.
Mhm.
And what the omniscient viewer sees
Mhm.
is this chonky green tree frog wearing a saddle and a big water barrel on his back. And on top of this tree frog is a small-sized blue frog wearing a black tricorn hat, a leather cloak, and a kilt. And he is perched on top of Mango, and he's fixated on something, and his eyes have this like cloudy third eyelid thing going,
Mm-hmm.
and he's focusing on something. In front of Mango and Checkers is this very dusty, very large mannequin or like stuffed bat bear.
Hmm?
Just like
Absolutely.
looking menacingly, frozen in time, with its mouth wide open, and you just see the Junior just kind of like emerge from its mouth with this really old like watch and chain.
Okay.
And just like, Checkers would probably put it in one of the pockets in his kilt and be like, oh, Val's going to want to see this one. And probably leap away into the distance.
Okay.
Selv is kind of making his way through the city. He's pretty tall, like 6'5", and wearing his typical red gi with the gold sash on it. He seems to be somewhat reluctantly moving towards the bell tower that the Mothman Prime was perched upon during the attack. Once he gets over there, he unrolls a bit of parchment, kind of looks at it, and looks back up at the tower and starts moving around to the northwest corner of that tower. At just above head height for him is a not perfectly circular, but about a 2-foot diameter hole still in reality. He kind of looks down at the parchment again and then looks up at this hole, rolls up the parchment, tucks it into his belt, and then kind of gives a deep sigh and takes one of his clawed hands and reaches into this hole. And then he's kind of like moving around like he's reaching for something. And then apparently finds it, grabs it, and pulls it out. And when he does, the part of his hand that emerges is kind of covered in frost. He has whatever it is in his hand, but it is caked over in a thin layer of frost.
Perfect.
Which hopefully will melt by the time he gets home.
You will hope that, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And then he kind of gives a big sigh of relief and is like, one down. And then heads back to the guild hall.
So, Kaskrin is wandering around in the dark aqueducts underneath the city of Agmar. He is walking along one of these sort of stone lined riverways where the water rushes through. And as he's walking, he reaches his hand and kind of gently drags them alongside the wall of this giant aqueduct. He turns his head back and forth, looking through the darkness, and sort of seeing what's ahead of him in that sort of grayish color that dark vision is known for, all the while feeling the ground, feeling the wall around him with his feet and his arms that are encrusted in stone. He comes across a circular waterway that is locked by a grate and takes his hands around the bars of the grate to peer through it, seeing something that he's looking for on the other side, something that must have washed down here and has gotten stuck beyond. With one hand still touching the wall of stone, he gently molds it, coaxing a rod in the shape of a crowbar, and levers it into a chain and padlock that was holding the grate shut and snaps it open, opening the grate, walking through, and retrieving whatever item was on the other side.
You guys have spent the better part of not just a day, but maybe even 2 days collecting all of these things and other objects that it has become clear to you might be useful in what lies ahead. But we haven't found all the objects. But what we have found are tracks. Tracks starting at the edge of the city and going into the woods. Clawed tracks, mostly small, but one pair of large, 4-toed, clawed, almost bird-like feet. You guys prepare accordingly. You travel outside of the city, having a good idea of what you are facing, but not exactly sure how best to tackle it, what it will look like, any number of other things. But you are, after all, brave heroes. Eventually, the tracks lead you to a dark cave. Perhaps you light a torch, cast a cantrip, so you can see your way down. Eventually, you get to the end of a long cave. And you look around, not seeing anything, but knowing that you haven't missed any twists and turns. And then, just on the outskirts of your torchlight, you see a pair of eyes that seem to be on either side of a head. And you can see them glint just a little bit in the light that you are shining. And you slowly see a large creature rear up and make a blood-curdling cry.
I was not prepared for that.
You all have tracked down the cockerel daemon who has been stealing chickens from the Red City of Agmar all around this spectral large chicken, a preening rooster that is the size of a small horse, are seemingly beautiful prize-winning chickens that must be impeccably trained.
Impeccably.
That are staying still but cowering. You can't tell from this creature or what, but you know that this strange spectral entity is what has scattered the chickens across the city, the chickens you see in front of you now, and you know it must be stopped. So much like on episode 1 of the Reckless Attack podcast, we're not going to go into a full dice rolling combat. It's going to be purely cinematic. We go back to the dice. We'll go back to the dice later. Don't worry. As the four of you see this large ghostly chicken rear up and let loose its horrific battle cry that echoes down the cavern walls, what do you do?
We will stop you, foul beast.
Just to confirm, this is not Gary Carr, right?
I think that's
In his true form?
Yeah, right?
No. This is some strange. This is a creature you've probably researched, but is like a semi-known like phenomenon spirit that occasionally will break in and steal chickens, but also will like nonsensically just like scatter chickens into strange places that chickens shouldn't be, like, I don't know, inside of secret
hole in the
compartments,
rocks.
inside of aqueducts, inside of a reality bent clock tower. All of these and more are where you found not just any chickens, but prize chickens. And you know this creature is responsible and that it must be stopped.
Val steps forward and grabs her shield in front of her, presses her other hand to her holy symbol, and just calls forth spirit guardians that are all chickens.
Well, that's appropriate because you know that this creature, while it believes in its strange alien mind that it is a great liberator of its fellow poultry kind, that it is actually very dangerous. Again, whatever it does, it scatters these chickens to the winds, and some of these chickens are not cut out to live out in the wild, let alone inside of a wall. And so you know that you are actually getting great justice for these chickens by channeling the spirits of other chickens to combat this thing.
Absolutely. Most of them look like Colaprico.
Yeah, of course. Yes, of course.
But she embellishes them a little bit more, so they're like kind of scary dinosaur chickens
Got it. Yes, perfect.
to really intimidate the chicken demon.
So Kaskrin readies his hammer, about to charge into battle. But first, checks in with Val and says, Val, what do you know about this poultrygeist?
Oh, yes!
Oh!
He charges forward. Have at thee!
It's perfect.
I have never been more proud than I am at this moment.
Yeah, I was going to say, Steve got up and like left. We're actually coming back to the table. We had to take an emotional 5-minute break.
Kaskrin runs towards the creature, doubling, tripling the weight of its hammer and casting heavy blow before bringing it down towards whatever that he can see, trying to get between himself and the numerous chickens
The
that
flock.
the flock that are scattered around the cave.
Perfect.
Well, Sal, looks like we're really in a pickle.
Perfect.
Checkers is
No,
going.
I asked for this. I deserve this. Carry on.
Checkers is going to take out the strange watch that he found inside the belly of the bat bear, and he's going to hurl it into the air. All right, Mango, let's go. Mango's going to leap out from behind him and just like grab the watch with his tongue and swallow it. and suddenly Mango just begins like glowing this faint, like a weird golden color. And as Mango lands, he slams down onto the top of the strange chicken demon, seemingly heavier or doing some more damage than he might otherwise be doing.
I literally texted Jonathan, whatever you're about to fight has a weakness to this this watch. You figure out what that means. and there we have it.
If you eat it, it does things.
I'm writing that down.
Yeah.
Selv will kind of break off and move to one side and try to get kind of around to the opposite side of this demonic chicken.
Excuse me, daemonic? Thank
sorry.
you. There's an A in there. Thank you.
Demonic cockerel. Cockerel daemon. Yes, I had it written down. As he moves around, he'll shout to the rest of the party,
We have to stop it before it flies the coop.
and then he kind of readies his quarterstaff and takes a kind of a defensive position on the other side of this evil-looking chicken.
So, ghostly chickens are swarming around
Ghostly
you all.
dinosaur chickens, thank you.
Very spooky chickens are swirling all around you. A large, lightly glowing frog has started to try and sit on this chicken. A huge sledgehammer blow is starting to just work at this daemon, and there is a stick about to meet the face of this chicken. The combat against the cockerel daemon has begun. What happens next?
So there is a moment where the daemon has been like wildly flailing its wings and its head, trying to get, make some space or attack the party. And Kaskrin finds himself without his hammer. It's gotten knocked out of his hands, and he is now firmly within the grasp of this creature's beak. He has him by the arms and is flailing around, and Kaskrin is just like, one arm is being crushed and the other is just like uppercutting this creature as much as he can.
Punching this ghost chicken in the face, yep.
But he's clearly in danger as the plot chickens.
I think we should have stayed on break longer.
Selv sees that Cass is in trouble, and so runs up and takes his quarterstaff and is able to get it in between the throat of the chicken and Cass in an attempt to kind of wedge the beak upward and get Cass out of its grasp.
We'll say grasp,
I guess.
yeah.
Okay. And then as he's doing that, he grabs both sides of the quarterstaff and kind of puts his hip into the chicken and pulls. And you could see the chicken gasping for breath as it's forced to let go of Cass and otherwise, begin to choke.
I'm imagining this like prolonged like team effort to try and get Kaskrin out of the beak.
On
of
one
this
side
thing.
is just this chicken, and then 4 other people are just yanking on Kaskrin.
Well, so I'm thinking of this as like at some point during this combat, Checkers has summoned Billiam to help.
Naturally.
So
I mean, you guys are on the ropes, so all the help you can get.
So Billiam being this small spherical frog with a large butterfly carrying him and this big muscular tongue extending from Billiam and wrapping around Kaskrin. It's just like the butterfly is flapping its wings as hard as it can, trying to pull Kaskrin out. And then Checkers is grabbed onto Billiam, trying to pull Billiam, and Mango is grabbed onto Checkers. So it's just this like long tug of war of
frog chain
of frogs and chickens trying to pull Kaskrin out from the mouth as Selv is just like trying to lever this beak open, and it's a lot.
It's a lot.
We're like, come on, Cass, come look at you there.
Trying.
Sophie, the battle it's at a tipping point. The two mighty sides, frogs versus chickens. Are, it's at a standstill. And you know that the right move at the right time by you will tip this battle to victory or defeat.
Val drops her spectral chickens and knows the tide must turn. And in their place comes an army of mangoes.
Excuse me?
An army of Mangoes the Frog.
Just like little...
Excuse me?
Her spiritual gardens has been recast in the form of mango.
But as frogs.
As frogs. We have to tip the scales in favor
There
of
must be
frogs.
more frogs.
Right. That's the solution to this problem.
She didn't understand before, but now
Now she's got a
she
read
does.
of the situation. The age-old back and forth, one that maybe even Checkers didn't fully understand until this moment. The natural enemies of frogs and chickens, and a battle that has been played out across centuries, generations, millennia, maybe before written history itself. And as the frogs fly, as the chickens are strangulated, and as this creature is punched in the face repeatedly by a rock man, the camera cuts to the entrance of the cave. It lingers for a moment, and then we see the members of the Golden Tree Guild emerge victorious. Scraped? Certainly. Battered? Yes. But not fried. Leading a score of prize-winning chickens out of the cave, knowing they have done another service to the community of the Red City of Agmar. Congratulations.
Nice.
I just thought of this, but it would be really funny if Val tried to turn it or banish it and said, "Pecan!"
It's too late. The battle's over. No more chicken puns. That's enough. The four of you make your way back to the city, braving the wilds, protecting these weird chickens that are weirdly cool to just walk along with you.
Mm-hmm.
Val got the pamphlet from Gary Carr, The Chickens Are.
Thank
She
you.
stopped by after she got Cold Break and was like, there has to be a manual.
What do these chickens know?
Yeah, there's a list of commands a well-trained chicken knows.
Of
So
cour-
she
I mean,
knows
obviously.
them. Yeah, and she's helping the chickens with commands, being like, no, here.
I imagine even there's just a point
Heel,
where they're
heel,
like
grip.
showing off and they are walking in single file, and then you give them the command, they start walking in a double heel. What is this?
They're very good chickens. You guys eventually find your way back to one of the large gates into the Red City, the magically protected city that you know is not perfectly magically protected, for some strange creatures, such as weird chicken demons, are able to come in every once in a while. And at the gate, town guardsmen give you a wave. They see who you are. They might give you a bit of a second glance as they look down at your feet and see the strange swirling pattern, I'm assuming, that all of these chickens are making as they're walking alongside you. And you enter back into the city, and you walk back to your guild headquarters. As you return, you hear a voice booming out as soon as you come in. By the way, these chickens, oddly quiet the whole time.
Val has been helping them show off and is like, speak.
Yeah, they will speak when
Yeah.
commanded, but otherwise, serene. And you hear a voice booming out, "My chickens, they are here!"
Oh no.
And from around the corner, a robust gentleman with a long gray beard, but plenty of skip left in his step, comes around, and you know this, to be the person who sent you on this mission. Gary Carr, the Chickens Are.
He is 100% wearing a chicken hat.
Yes, yeah, 100%.
Either a regular chicken or the crest.
How else would they know he's Gary Carr, The Chickens Are?
That's true.
It's in all of his promotional material.
And he looks at you all, and he looks down at the parade of chickens that you've brought back with you, and he says, "Oh, hello, my beautiful little chicken darlings. Are you all safe?" Turned French there on accident. I'm sorry.
Not a feather out of place.
You all have done Gary Carr Chickens Are a great service today. And he looks at you all very intensely, somehow is making direct eye contact with all four of you at the same time. And he sticks out a big meaty hand and says, "Today, you have won a friend for life."
I would just like to imagine part of Gary's backstory is he was like, you know what is the best security for chickens? Guard chicken. And that's how he got into training chickens. And he was like, but they can do cool shit. And so it's like he trained them for like one particular purpose. Is like, no, I'm really good at training chickens, and like, which is like, let's turn.
And
them
now
into,
that's
like,
just this whole deal.
I just imagining them like patrolling like around the coop. It's like,
but now they can walk in double helix fashion.
Yeah.
I have been waiting for your return, and I am so happy to see all of my beautiful chickens return to me. I noticed you have a coop out back. If you ever need chickens to fill them, for the first time, assuming you have no other chickens, and want some impeccably bred and trained chickens, I will sell to you at a discount. Thank you. Thank you. And he, like, bows deeply and gratefully.
Thank you for the generous offer.
And Casper's like, but we have this other chicken, actually. And Val has to be like, no.
And he gets up, and he stands up straight. He looks down at his chickens, and out of his pocket, he takes a small whistle and whistles 3 times. And all the chickens stand at attention. And they all walk out. And as he does, he also says, "Oh, also the gold is on the table. Goodbye, my friends." And out walks Gary Carr the chicken czar. Precisely. Hello again, everyone. It's me, DM Nathan, and welcome to the mid-roll. This is where we remind you to follow us on all the social medias, particularly on Twitter at reckless_attack, where we are posting memes and behind-the-scenes things and all the best types of promos and nonsense. And if you are enjoying and want to support what we're doing, please consider supporting us over on Patreon. It is one of the best ways to help us improve the show and let us do cool new things. If you're interested in repping Reckless Attack out in the real, actual meat space world, please head over to Redbubble and TeePublic, which you can find through our website, where we have all kinds of awesome merch, stickers, t-shirts, maybe towels, and I think maybe even like a shower curtain, all kinds of stuff, and we update it very frequently, usually with the neatest, coolest new designs and pieces of art that we've commissioned. It is also a great way to help spread the word about Reckless Attack and get cool frogs on more of your possessions, which isn't that what we all want? That's all from me, and now, back to the episode. And this is but one of the lucrative and harrowing adventures that you guys all go on in the aftermath of the Mothman attacks.
How much gold did we make for the chicken escapade?
30,000 gold. Wow. All right. Neat.
Gary,
per chicken.
for your troubles, Gary Carr the chicken czar, because this has been a several days long job, and you successfully returned all the chickens without any harm or anything coming to them. You get 350 gold pieces from Gary Carr the chicken czar, as well as, of course, a essentially priceless discount on any future chicken-related purchases from the Czar Emporium. In addition, you got another 1,500 gold pieces from the coffers of the Red City as part of their thanks for your contributions. This was actually very public, because in the aftermath, there were actually public discussions around what had happened. And I'm trying to figure out the right way to say it. There were formal discussions, formal public discussions about what had happened. Vina Calvetta had to take the stand in front of the city council, in front of other members of the public, to say, hey, we knew about this, we had to keep it quiet, here's why. But it was all reported on, all kind of officially in the papers, so to speak. You guys were fully credited for your role, even beyond just what people saw you do that night, and were compensated accordingly. there is certainly a lot of appreciation has been poured out to you all. The city council has reached out to you with their thanks and said that they would like to throw a celebration for you, but want to give the proper amount of time after the attacks. But that has not stopped the people of Agmar from showing their appreciation and recognizing you as legitimate members of their community and legitimate protectors of that community. Knowing that you have a few irons in the fire, you guys essentially, in a meta sense, have a week or two in between, we'll say, plot-centric jobs where you are able to fill your time, certainly not just with to-do lists and shopping trips and what have you, but of taking other jobs, of community service, of connecting with people in the city, exploring what have you. What would you all have done?
Kaskarin spends most of his time building relationships with other people in the city.
Mhm.
You know, we've met a lot of people, especially in the Red Guard. So he spends a lot of time hanging out with Namgar. He spends a lot of time hanging out with Vina Calveda and learning more about the city itself, the history of it, and how it sort of stands militarily against what's been happening outside of its walls. In addition, he spends a lot of time, especially in the morning, sparring with Self. You know, he went down during the last combat against the Mothman, and so he knows from that there are still skills to be sharpened. You know, new things to learn, new ways to train, and new ways to fight. And so he spends a lot of time honing himself and working on that, while in the evenings compiling more reports, more dossiers about people that the Golden Tree Adventuring Guild knows, but maybe doesn't have information for yet.
And what you'd find out as part of that is that, per kind of your last discussions with Vina, that the bones, for the time being, have been on much shorter leashes, just in terms of literal, acreage covered. It's that they're still out there, but they are much closer to the city and much more reserved in their patrols. And that is still something they're trying to figure out actively, of how that is going to change the safety of the city, not having eyes kind of outside of it.
Have they also increased the number of bones per patrol?
Yes and no, because they have, but at the same time, if something is controlling the bones, or able to control
You
them...
don't want a whole lot of them in one spot.
Exactly. So their best kind of in between right now is kind of a mix of members of the Bones and members of the town guard, but that's not really what they're trained to be doing either. They are just kind of there to be not a member of the Bones, basically. So it is still very tenuous, even in the week or two, kind of in the aftermath of you guys reporting back and dealing with all of this.
And as part of that too, as Kaskarin is out and about, he's keeping sort of a ear to the ground, trying to figure out how do people feel after the attack. You know, do they feel relieved? Do they feel frightened? And trying to see, just keep a pulse on the city.
I'm imagining you and Namgar at Torts and Ports, one evening, just after work, basically.
Yeah.
And you guys are talking through and just chatting and learning some, but also just kind of going back and forth. You're definitely getting the sense that the city is a little on edge, but at the same time, to exist in this world, you have to kind of be weirdly psychologically ready for horrific things like that to just happen out of nowhere, right? Some people are unhappy that they weren't told about what was happening, but the city kind of rolls with the punches.
I have a question just about the Golden Tree Guild in general, and I guess the best way to put this, to ask the question, is, does the Golden Tree Adventuring Guild have a minor league version? Where, for instance, simply because of what happened, I kind of imagine that there will be some people in the city that would be like, hey, we want to join the guild. But there has to be a point where they kind of get trained and go through all of that stuff. So do we have something where we can send them, where we have new recruits?
As of right now, because it's so relatively relaunched, you guys were in the minor leagues. You guys training together and kind of going through that as kind of the formal thing, that's kind of the minor leagues. So if there's ever anyone who you're like, aha, you actually, if you wanted to, we can put in a good word. You will write your letter of recommendation to get in. But also, if you had other ideas, you're also new enough that you could just suggest it or just do it. You know, like you would have a lot of flexibility to do something like that.
So one of the things that I was kind of thinking would be happening with that, people would be coming up to Selv because he's somewhat recognizable and he's, you know, he stands out, and asking about how does one go about joining up for the guild. So maybe sitting around the dinner table one night, just be like,
I have been approached by several people about them joining the guild. So I have a question for you. Should we set up a training center? Or should we approach other guilds in the city and ask them if they want to join and create a common pool of people to train?
Isn't our training center just sending them to Rakma?
That would be a long trip.
Says the Dragonborn who traveled from a mountain monastery to Rakma.
I don't know
It was
that.
still a long trip.
Yes, but not insurmountable. And
True. Yes.
But I feel like what the people are trying to ask for is not so much, can we join the guild, but is there a way that we can protect ourselves? Is there a way that we can contribute to the defense of the city should something like this happen again? And I think that maybe we can't do a training center, like something formal, but maybe we could do like a small boot camp.
I'm just imagining it's like fucking morning yoga, but morning combat with self.
Yeah.
Just like, yep, every day, 3 weeks, your ass is mine.
gotta get to that Zen Garden of Thixius.
Yeah, but I think that would be valuable for people that want to join the guild, you know? Not only do we find out if you have what it takes, but people who want to get stronger, who want to defend their families, now have some more education, some coaching that they can go through.
Have either of you put on a community series before?
No.
I can yell at soldiers really well. Does that count?
No.
I have a lot of experience
Yeah.
yelling at soldiers in a professional capacity.
We can do this, but please meet me at the desk of doing after breakfast.
So I think over a couple of weeks, Checkers has been doing a couple things.
I
Doing
can
things.
imagine.
Yeah. One of those things actually has been a job on the job board here in Agmar. And while he hasn't actually formally accepted the job, he saw it and thought it would be interesting just to go poke around and see what's up. So the job entails investigating why the amount of basically petty theft in a certain area of town has been increasing. You know, people have been reporting it more often, of finding things stolen and not really sure what's going on, or like things like that, basically.
is that where Checkers has been hanging out?
Yes, that is where Checkers has been hanging out over the past 2 weeks, and the two are entirely unrelated. So just
Wink,
we'll put
wink, nudge, nudge.
yeah, we'll put that out there. But Checkers has spent some time in the area, just kind of on top of the roofs, looking around, seeing if he can see people who might be causing some of this stuff. And he's been beginning to see some patterns, like similar people kind of hanging around the same spots, or noticing, you know, people who are maybe taking advantage of those who might not be as familiar with the city as he is.
Of course, I mean, especially the Red City, you know, it doesn't happen every day, but there's a non-zero number of caravans that still come in every once in a while, always new people to the city or people who are just trying to get out into it. Absolutely.
Right. And while he doesn't necessarily do anything about it in the moment, what he does know is that frequently there is someone maybe a little surprising as part of the group of people that he notices, in that he sees this young girl with surprisingly shiny black hair, I think would be the big thing that he would notice, hanging around the crowds. He sees her participating in some of the crimes that he's noticing around the city. And the thing that he has kind of picked up about her is mostly just her name, and he's not really sure if it is her name, but he hears people call her Turnip, and he is just keeping an eye on her.
How does Checkers feel seeing this as someone who not just has and does these sorts of activities on the regular, but finds deep joy and meaning in such activities?
Yeah.
Like, how does he feel about it? And like, what is capturing his like imagination or interest in this job and kind of by extension, this person?
Yeah. So he is not judging. He's just kind of watching for the moment. I think the thing that he is thinking is more or less just an assessment of maybe her skills and her motivations. So he's looking to see, hey, is this person doing this maybe maliciously? Are they doing it out of a, like, do they need to be doing this? Basically, why are they here? So that's what he's kind of watching. And he spends a good amount of time looking for this.
You know, and I would definitely say, and not to influence anything in the future, just like facts, is that definitely Agmar has, more than probably most cities, has a pretty decent security net.
Yeah.
Just in terms of there is resources, there is places to sleep. But that doesn't mean everyone uses it.
Right.
That doesn't mean, you know, that could be any number of things. Is there anything that Val would like to be doing?
Her entire to-do list.
We've been trying to figure out the best way to go about doing this, because this has been a legendary to-do list for months of in-game and
I think
episodes.
ever since level 2.
Basically. Since before you got into the Red City of Agmar. What is everyone around the table feeling? I'm thinking, I mean, it's first of all, it's Val. Val can do a lot, and Berga's there to help.
Some of these are specifically assigned to Berga, and Val's already asked her to complete them.
Yes, absolutely. And you know Val, you know that she's on it.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh. Roll me a d20 and add whatever skill you think is most useful for either delegation, planning, prioritizing, project management, or just the constitution to get through your 30-point to-do list.
I mean, I feel like it's clearly insight, gauging how much she can delegate, because she won't just delegate to Berga. She's a whole guild.
Right.
to
I'm
delegate
I'm
tasking.
100% imagining that like Casquin's going about his day.
Yes.
You know, he's got his own stuff to do, and it starts with just like, "Hey, Casquin, can you pick up this thing from the bazaar?"
While you're out.
Yeah, right, exactly. And then it you know, all of a sudden he gets back in, drops something off, and it's like, well, actually, I had to go pick this thing up, and then like suddenly Casquin is just like in and out like a revolving door, doing all this stuff. For
I am
for
on
Val.
board with insight.
Okay.
Give me a d20 roll.
Guidance.
I cast guidance every 6
Here's the
seconds
thing.
for the next 2 weeks.
I will allow it because you have the desk of doing at your disposal to help coordinate all of this, and there are few more religious moments in Val's life than this exact activity, so I'll allow it.
Thank you. I always gotta shoot my shot.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, it was almost an 18 on the die. So not very good, actually. 13.
Okay, list off 13 things that you do really quick. Ready, go.
Investigate the bone shard we found in the weird cave. Find out more about the smoke creature. Find out who summoned the Mothman. Research the bones armband. Follow up with the Zun. Make Etris a new viral carrying case.
Hey.
Improve the ventilation of Etris's shed.
Perfect.
by removing the roof.
Yeah.
No.
Has he just not? He's just been breathing in all these fumes.
There's like a
what
small
makes him tough.
smokestack,
Yeah.
but Val thinks it could be improved. There's a subpoint to that where she's going to enlist Selvcast and Checkers to get Etris out of the shed. She would send Checkers, but that's dangerous.
Yeah, Checkers might
Yeah.
just hang out there
I
for a
guess
while.
that's 7.5.
No, that's part of the
Part of it,
point.
okay.
Yeah. Check for a fairy infestation. Research beast folk. Create a system to alert our neighbors or anyone interested if we are in or out of the city.
These are so good. I'm so happy.
Research the origin of the vault door.
Oh,
Ooh, good one.
that's
a good
nice. Yeah.
Obtain a museum pass
Got to.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And then for at least a half a day, she's going to commandeer everybody in the guild. Berga, Etris, Taroth can come if he wants. And she will lead them through the city on a kebab shop tour.
Excellent and perfect. I guess the question is, do we in fiction think that Pete's Meats has kebabs? Or is it a jerky exclusive, or he brings out the kebabs for festivals? What's the fiction that we as a group agree to?
I choose to believe that it's like the McRib, in that it comes back just randomly, like
Yeah.
when he feels like it.
Got it?
Mm-hmm. I also think like there's like different kebabs that might not,
course.
but like Pete's Meats might have like the trademark on kebabs, and then there's like the kebab.
Famously, Pete's a good dude, but he's very litigious, and he's a real jerk about, no, this is a kebab. I will sue you.
Yeah.
The Kakarl.
Yeah.
The Kasteve.
I like to think that kebabs are like a native food, and
Yeah,
it's like
totally.
something that Pete hasn't quite gotten the grasp of
Ooh.
yet. Where like he's got the stick and he puts jerky on the stick, and it's like, is this a kebab?
Is this a kebab? Huh?
And it doesn't quite click yet.
Yeah, I was actually imagining that the kebab places were separate
Yeah.
from Pete's.
I think we found when we entered the city, it was like a description before we met Pete of
Mhm.
like, you smell like kebabs, a bunch of kebab places all
Right.
around.
Mhm.
So, because that was a very early to do point, less
Mhm.
than 10,
Mhm.
so very early on.
Perfect. Much was checked off, and I have taken note of the more intense moving the plot forward ones,
Mhm.
and you will be rewarded for spending your time checking on those.
I'm imagining Val falls into a routine of getting up, having breakfast with whoever else is up, Berga most days, and then she will go, she's hanging up flyers for the boot camp series that she helped Cass and Self put together. She kind of does like all the errands, moving about town, physical work that she might have to do in the morning, comes back to the guild hall, like drops anything off, and then in the afternoon when it's hot outside, she goes to the cool,
Mm-hmm.
calm library and sets about her research, checks in with Andromeda, checks in on how her restricted section pass is coming along.
Just very cool, very
Very
casual,
cool, calm.
supernatural.
Yeah.
we can't tell you how the pass is coming along because it's restricted.
And then she'll make her way back to the guild hall for dinner, check in with everybody, see how their day went, make sure Etris is still alive, she knows he'll have lost hair, but checking
Yes.
on digits.
And what hair? And how much hair?
Right.
And where is that hair that has gone?
Mhm.
Did it go somewhere else, or is it just gone?
Actually,
Has he always lost hair?
Yeah.
Every time?
I prefer to also think of it as like sometimes there's the swath of extra hair.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
He is working on that shampoo, so.
Yes, precisely.
I was gonna say something else. I forgot. And then as she goes up to her room, and if she has extra 3rd level spells, she would use sending.
To whom?
Her mom, mostly her mom. Sometimes her dad. Very rarely her brother.
Just every other Friday, be like, hi, I'm still here.
And what are you messaging your mom about? Because again, it's what
very-
and what's the spell? And could you give the quick description for the people at home?
Yes. So sending is the spell.
New for 5th level Val.
Ooh.
Fancy.
I can send a short message of 25 words or less to a creature with which you are familiar. They hear the message in their mind, recognize Val as the sender if they know you, and can answer in a like manner immediately.
So, one day, as you guys have been doing whatever it is that you were doing that day, maybe you guys, again, I know that there was some degree of mandatory mealtime. I don't know if that was breakfast, dinner, what have you. But the 4 of you find yourselves either on the way back or already back at the guild hall. And you are, like Sophie said, kind of falling into a nice routine, whatever that looks like for adventurers doing weird shit all the time. It's towards the end of the day, but still kind of during normal business hours, and you go through the front doors of your guild hall. Sitting there are two people. One of them, Berga, your kind of guild master, guild handler, guild
office admin.
Office admin, exactly. Your trusted right
Can we
hand.
just call her the guild master? Because
That's pretty cool, actually. Yeah.
I think that's.
I think she
that's very
deserves
good.
it.
Yeah,
I think
right.
she does.
Berga Guildmaster.
cool.
Cool.
And the other individual sitting there is a certain PI tree guy,
Yay.
I knew it.
Alareth, who, for those of you who don't remember, is essentially a small kind of tree ant kind of looking individual, skin made out of bark, wearing a dramatic fedora, and I think I described it as a trench coat. I don't remember for sure, but at least that's what he's wearing today.
Kaskrin gives kind of like, he cocks an eyebrow at Berga, not asking so much what is he doing here, but did he come through the door?
Yeah.
And Berga just shakes her head.
No.
Oh, no?
No.
Okay.
Oh.
Because Alareth is sitting in a chair looking very grumpy. And as you guys come in, Alareth kind of stands up and he says, I've been waiting for you guys. I had to make an appointment. You see Berga look at you, Cass, and like kind of waggle her eyebrows and be like, fucking God. And he says, I have a lead that might interest you all, as well as some information. Could we talk?
Absolutely.
The group of you head into a side room to have a conversation. I'm imagining the camera kind of pans over the life-sized carving of Alareth as you walk past.
I
that
feel
he-
like Checkers has definitely put that in the conference room.
Yeah, for sure. It's like just permanently sitting in one of the spots in the room.
Yep, perfect. And the last thing, maybe Val, I'm imagining just for the sake of drama, you are the last person to go through, just because you happen to straggle. And Berga clears her throat and makes also very pointed on. Berga hasn't said anything. She's just, it's exclusively eyebrow waggles and meaningful looks. And she looks down at her desk and you see a piece of parchment, that is all folded up, very pristine, has some ribbon on it and a wax seal. And you would recognize that wax seal as the seal of the Agmar Library. And based off of the eye contact that you and Berga, again, totally silent, all mental and emotional communication, you know that it is an update on your request to enter the restricted section of the library.
Val absolutely forgets to go in the conference room and runs, dives for that parchment.
And we will reveal the contents of that parchment and reveal what is going on in this meeting on our next episode of Reckless Attack. Thanks for coming back, everybody. Yay! See you next week.
Welcome back.
Yay!
Jonathan, how did you grow a 2-foot-long beard in a month?
Yeah.
Oh, I have plans.
Little known fact about Checkers, he has to shave every 4 hours.
It's actually not a barrel of water, it's a barrel of shaving cream.
Right, yeah.
It's like the Kids in the Hall episode of the
spigot.
guy that was on the airplane and forgot his nose hair clippers.
Yeah.
And at the end of the flight, he had a full beard out of his nose hair. And
Horrible.
then he sneezed, and it's like,
Oh, no.
On that note.
episode.